Hey readers, yesterday you had the opportunity to think analytically about our text Can't Sit Still. You were able to type in a Google Doc with the rest of your classmates, use some of their thinking as your guidance, and answer one of our questions to help us think analytically. Today we're going to take a look at a new text. We're going to continue to think analytically, but you're going to have a chance to write in your own Google Doc instead of having to share it today. And answer a question about our text. So today I want to teach you that to think analytically, a person divides into parts, then selects, ranks, and compares. So a person can decide, I'm going to try thinking about maybe their division, their selection, rank, or comparison, and then think in any one of those ways and see if that thinking yields new insights or ideas. Oftentimes it will. It will make you think about things that you haven't quite thought of before with your text. So remember, ways that we can think analytically can be to divide our text into parts, we can select parts, we can rank parts, and we can compare different parts of the text. So some questions to guide that thinking as we are thinking analytically. If we want to divide our text into parts, we can ask ourselves, what are the most important parts or scenes? How does this part fit into the book as a whole? If we are choosing to rank pieces of our text, we can say which passage best represents blank, whether it's a character trait, a character emotion, or maybe an inference. We can ask what evidence tells us the most about blank. So the same idea, whether it's a character trait, whether it's how our character is feeling, or if we're, again, supporting an inference. If we choose to compare, we can choose two events or two people and say, how does blank compare with blank? Or say we're choosing a character, we could say, how does blank, when he was blank, compare with how he is now? So let's take a look at a new text, and I'm going to demonstrate choosing a question to think analytically about. So today's text is called, I Want a Phone, and maybe some of you can relate to this one. I want a phone, said Myrna. I bet you do, said her dad. No, but Dad, you don't understand. I really, really, really want a phone. And I really, really, really want a boat. It's not going to happen. Myrna and her dad were stuck in traffic. To her, it seemed like they were always stuck in traffic. When he took her to school in the morning, traffic. When he picked her up in the afternoon, traffic. Go to the bank, the grocery, a birthday party, and what felt like 10 hours of traffic was their reward. She was bored because traffic was boring, and when she was bored, she wanted things. Right now, she wanted a phone. She wasn't sure if her dad understood that. She'd have to tell him again. I want a phone. N-O. What if I was stuck in a cave? What? Asked her dad, trying not to laugh. What if I had a kitten and the kitten ran away and I had to run after it? What if the kitten ran into a cave and I ran after the kitten and in the cave there was a bear and the bear trapped me and then you were stuck in the cave? Myrna nodded the way she did when she won an argument, but her dad wasn't through fighting. Is this a mama bear? I hear they're the fiercest. Yes, it's a mama bear and she's very upset. And she's going to eat me unless I have a phone to call for help. If it's a mama bear, then you can use her phone. Everyone knows that moms always carry phones. Dad was laughing as he said this. Myrna didn't think it was very funny. She slammed her hand down on the glove compartment as hard as she could, which wasn't very hard. Now she was angry. If I had a phone, I could play games on it. Well, if I had a boat, I could eat steaks on it. That doesn't mean I'm getting one. No, but I mean, Myrna spluttered. When she was very angry, she spluttered. It was embarrassing. If I could play games, I wouldn't be so bored when we are in traffic. I wouldn't bother you. I don't mind being bothered. I like talking to you. Then I won't say anything at all. Dad smiled quietly to himself. I'm going to call Mom to let her know we'll be late. He reached into his pocket. Oh, heck, my battery's dead. You know, if I had a phone, I could call Mom, said Myrna. Don't even. Myrna grinned. She wasn't getting a phone, but she knew she was right, and that was almost as good. So we're going to take a look at some of these question stems, and I'm going to choose one to think analytically about my text. So on Google Classroom, you'll see that under Assignments, you have a Google Doc, which is the same document you saw yesterday, but this time you get your own copy of it. So it's questions that can help you think analytically. And if you look closely, These questions are specifically about this story. So it talks about Myrna's character, and it talks about the specific events of this story. So some of the questions that you could choose if you want to divide your text into parts: what are the most important parts or scenes? How does this part fit into the book as a whole? So there you would have to choose a part of the text that you think is important, or you would have to choose how a piece of it fits into the rest of the text. If you are ranking your text, you can say which passage best represents Myrna's determination. As you can tell from the story, maybe a character trait of hers, if we were writing to elaborate about this, we would say that Myrna is determined. In other words, she will not stop coming up with evidence for her dad to prove why she needs a phone. So you could select a passage and tell me which one best shows just how determined she is, and I also want to know why. You could also decide which evidence tells us the most about Myrna's character. So in your opinion, what is Myrna like, and which passage best supports that? If you want to compare, how does Dad's opinion compare with Myrna's? So we can add, how does Dad's opinion about a phone compare with Myrna's opinion about a phone? How does Myrna's argument at the beginning compare with Myrna's argument at the end? And that's actually the one that I would like to choose. So my answer to this question: in the beginning of the story, Myrna was making up ridiculous arguments involving a cave and a bear. She really wanted a phone, and that was all she could think of. Towards the end of the story, she found a real-life opportunity to prove why she needed a phone. Her dad's phone had died, and she told him that if she had a phone, she could have called Mom instead of him. So I decided to compare parts of the story. I compared the beginning of the story with the end of the story in terms of Myrna's argument towards getting a phone. Now, you are going to be choosing a question. You could choose the same one. However, it should not look exactly like mine, because you are an individual and your ideas may be a little bit different from mine. So please try to choose a different question. If you do choose the same question, make sure your response does not look just like mine. Make sure it looks like you and your thinking. So you're going to take a look at your text, I want a phone. You'll open your Google Doc and choose a passage or choose a question to answer about your story in order to help you think analytically. Happy reading.